Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Kayla and it's time to crack into a good book. So today's video is going to be a book haul, and this is actually like a fairly reasonable number of books. So I am pre-filming this at the end of May, so you know, by the time I post this, I may have actually already read some of these. Like, I'm looking at some of them, I'm like, I kind of want to read that right now, so, you know, that may or may not happen. Before we jump in, leave a book emoji in the comments to let me know that you're here. Let's start with the books that I've won in Goodreads giveaways, because there are a few. So the first one that I'll talk about is Lost in the Neverwoods by Aiden Thomas. So I think that this is like a YA Peter Pan type retelling. So basically it's like, it's been 5 years since Wendy and her two brothers vanished into the woods near the small coastal town of Astoria, Oregon. Interesting. Wendy returned with no memory of where she had been or what had happened to her. Her brothers did not. When the town's children start to disappear, the mystery around her brothers is brought back into the light, and the police are once again knocking on Wendy's door for answers. Attempting to flee her past, she almost runs over an unconscious boy lying in the middle of the road. Peter, a boy she thought lived only in her stories, asks for Wendy's help to rescue the missing kids, but in order to find them, she must confront what's waiting for her in the woods. So, you know, like, I'll be honest, Peter Pan is not my favorite story, but you know, I mean, I won this in a giveaway, and it is actually a finished copy, which is really exciting, but, you know, if I don't end up loving it all that much, and I have seen lower reviews in general, especially compared to Cemetery Boys, so if I don't love it as much, like, you know, whatever. I did enjoy Cemetery Boys, and so I'm hopeful that I will also enjoy this book. I do like this takes place in Oregon. I think that'll be a lot more interesting to me, but we'll find out. And I have a few romance books that I've won in Goodreads giveaways. The first one I'll talk about is Undercover Duke by Sabrina Jeffries. So some of these I think are more, well, I guess this is like a historical romance. Who knows? I don't even know if this is part of a series or not, so yay! Along with his step-siblings, our Duke is determined to finally solve the mysteries behind the suspicious deaths of their mother's 3 husbands. Tasked with investigating a possible suspect, he finds himself in dangerous proximity to her captivating daughter, Vanessa. But still haunted by a tragically lost love, the Duke is resolved to resist the attraction and avoid any scheming husband hunters. Besides, Vanessa seems utterly smitten with a roguish London playwright, and so she thinks that a little scheming may be in order, for it's the Duke that she truly has her sights and her heart set on. Her theatrical flirtation is intended only to break through his business-like demeanor and guarded emotions. So as I think the Duke becomes jealous, the two soon find themselves propelled into a scheme of an altogether different kind, involving a pretend engagement, a secret inquiry, and perhaps not so secret leap into true love. For a second there, I got confused with what I just read and thought that it was like a stepmother and her daughter, and they were like somehow related or something. No. Okay, it's the suspect's daughter. That makes me feel a hell of a lot better. Okay, woo. I'm kind of intrigued by the theater scene here, and I don't know how big of a role that plays. Also, I'm kind of curious about what's going on with the mother and her husbands. I haven't read that many historical romances, so this seems like a fun one to try. The next book that I wanted to give away is Outrageous Rebels of the Ton by Minerva Spencer. So this is another historical romance, I think. It says it's perfect for fans of Bridgerton. And I guess this comes out in July. When our main character, Eva, kidnaps Godric, her only plan is to stop the irritating Earl from persecuting her beloved brother. But when she has the intriguing rogue in the confines of her carriage, she longs to taste the passion she senses simmering beneath his rugged exterior. Her forbidden plan is foiled, however, when he turns the tables, taking her hostage instead, and demanding that they marry at once. The last thing he wants to do is to make the fiery, impulsive Eva his wife, despite her delectable mouth and alluring innocence. He knows from experience that nothing is forever, not even love. But honor demands he do right by the lady, no matter how stubbornly she tries to hold on to her independence. And while the road to the Scottish border is beset with danger, his greatest challenge is to keep his hands and his heart from his captivating bride-to-be. So that sounds kind of entertaining. This may be part of a series and is not the first one, so hopefully those are standalone. But that's kind of interesting that we've got like a hostage situation turning into marriage. I don't know how to feel about that necessarily. I'm kind of curious what Eva's plan is exactly here. Hopefully we actually do get to spend some time in Scotland, because that would be fun, but this sounds pretty entertaining, so hopefully it is fun. And finally, the last book that I won in a Goodreads giveaway is Don't Mind If I Do by Everly Ashton. So this is another romance, and I don't know why I've won so many romances lately, but I have. So, it's not every day the woman who broke your heart asks to be your wife. Life is good. I'm single. I'm an emergency room doctor, and according to my hookups, I'm hot AF. Then she walks back into my life. I haven't seen Mazzy since the night she betrayed me, so when she comes into my work asking me to make good on a childhood pact and marry her, I'm speechless. She's the last woman I'd want to marry, even if it's pretend and with a definitive end date. but after I find myself in a sticky situation at work, marrying Mazzy just might benefit me too. Once we're living as husband and wife under the same roof, though, I struggle to remember that I hate this woman and the fake marriage doesn't feel so fake anymore. So I guess we have a lot of, like, fake relationships going on here. This also seems like a second chance romance because they did date at some point, I guess. Hopefully there are some funny moments here, but I really have no idea what to expect from this, and hopefully I enjoy it. So I guess we're just gonna go in a random order here. I'll start with this historical fiction book that I got in the May Unplugged book box. So this is the Rose Code by Quinn, and this is a World War II story mostly. So in 1940, as England prepares to fight the Nazis, 3 very different women answer the call to mysterious country estate Bletchley Park, where the best minds in Britain train to break German military codes. We've got Osla, who's a debutante, and she has everything: beauty, wealth, and the dashing Prince Philip of Greece sending her roses. But she burns to prove herself as more than a society girl and puts her fluent German to use as a translator of decoded enemy secrets. Then we got one of our other characters, who's a product of East End London poverty, who works the legendary code-breaking machines as she conceals old wounds and looks for a socially advantageous husband. Both of them are quick to see the potential in the local village spinster, Beth, whose shyness, like, conceals a brilliant mind with puzzles, and soon she spreads her wings as one of the park's few female cryptanalysts. But war, lust, and the impossible pressure of secrecy will tear the 3 apart. And then in 1947, I guess as the royal wedding of Princess Elizabeth and Prince Philip whips post-war Britain into a fever, the 3 friends-turned-enemies are reunited by a mysterious encrypted letter, the key to which lies buried in the long-ago betrayal that destroyed their friendship and left one of them confined to an asylum. The enigmatic traitor has emerged from the shadows of their Bletchley Park past, and now they must resurrect their old alliance and craft one last code together. But each petal they remove from the Rose Code brings danger and their true enemy closer. So this actually sounds really fun. I've seen it around a bit. I don't read that many World War II fiction novels, so I'm kind of curious to see how this goes. But I think what is particularly appealing to me here is that we've got, you know, like these female code breakers. I do enjoy when characters have to, like, figure things out and, you know, just puzzles in general, so I think that this seems pretty fun. I assume we're going to have, like, very intelligent female characters, so that's awesome. And then I also like that we've got this later timeline and where they have to, like, bond together again. I certainly want to know what has happened to their friendship and who it is that's in the asylum. I think that this will be fun. I'm excited to try it out. So now I've got this romance / thriller mystery book. I don't know how to categorize this, but that's Style A For Aunties by Jeffries Sutanto. So this seems just like a really fun book. We've got our main character who accidentally kills her blind date, and so her meddlesome mother calls for her even more meddlesome aunties to help get rid of the body. Unfortunately, this kind of proves to be a lot more challenging to get rid of than one might anticipate, especially when it's inadvertently shipped in a cake cooler to the over-the-top billionaire wedding that our characters are working at an island resort on the California coastline. It's the biggest job yet for the family wedding business, and nothing, not even an unsavory corpse, will get in the way of her auntie's perfect buttercream flowers. But things go from inconvenient to downright torturous when her great college love and biggest heartbreak makes a surprise appearance amid the wedding chaos. Is it possible to escape murder charges, charm her ex back into her life, and pull off a stunning wedding all in one weekend? So this just sounds like a blast. I've heard it's pretty hilarious, and it just seems like we're gonna have a lot of hijinks, and, you know, I'm very curious about our family members. I feel like we're gonna have some really close bonds, but also, like, I don't know. I think it's just gonna be a really great cast of characters. So this is definitely one that I'm kind of, like, tempted to read right now when I'm filming this. So, you know, we'll see if that happens. Then we have a romance book, and that's People We Meet on Vacation by Emily Henry. Let's just comment for a second on how colorful all of these book covers are. I love it. Anyway, yes, so this is a romance, and we have Poppy and Alex, and who have nothing in common. She is more outgoing, and he just wants to stay home with a book. And somehow, ever since a fateful car share home from college many years ago, they're the best of friends. For most of the year they live apart. She's in New York City and he's in their small hometown, but every summer for a decade they've taken 1 week of vacation together, until 2 years ago when they ruined everything and haven't spoken since. So Poppy has everything she should want, but is stuck in a rut, and basically it's like someone asked when she was last happy, and it was on this last trip with her friend Alex, and so she tries to convince him to take one more vacation together and, you know, lay everything on the table, make it all right, and he agrees. And so she's got a week to fix everything. I really liked Beach Read by her, and this seems like a really fun summer romance, and, you know, I'm pretty optimistic that I'm going to enjoy it based on how much I liked Beach Read. So then I've got a sci-fi book, and that's Every Sky a Grave by Posey. So I've been wanting to get this since it came out last year, I think. Far in the future, human beings have seated themselves among the stars. Since decoding the language of the universe 8,000 years ago, they've reached the very edges of the galaxy and built a near utopia across thousands of worlds, united and ruled by a powerful organization known as the Ascendants. The peaceful stability of their society relies solely on the use of the deep language of the cosmos. But this knowledge is a valuable secret, and a holy order known as the First House is tasked with monitoring its use and correcting humanity's further development. Elith is one such person, trained as a planetary assassin capable of infiltrating and ultimately destroying corrupt worlds using nothing more than words. So she's sent to this world, I think, in response to the reappearance of a forbidden strain of the deep language that was supposed to have died out with its founder more than 700 years ago. What she finds on the backwater planetoid will test her abilities and challenge what she knows of the deep language, the first house in the very nature of the universe. So I've heard pretty good things about this in general, I think, but what seems interesting is, like, I mean, first of all, like, planetary assassin, what is this? And also just, like, using language to do that. I have no idea how that's going to work, but I'm kind of intrigued by that idea. That kind of reminds me of, like, the language that librarians use in the Invisible Library series by Genevieve Cogman. Like, it's kind of, I mean, it's just like magic words, essentially. But I'm very curious to see how this pulls it off, and I want to say there is another book in this series coming out this year, so I do want to read this and hopefully continue on with the series if I enjoy it. Okay, so then I have a couple more urban fantasy books. The first one I'll talk about is Angel of the Overpass by Sean McGuire. This is the latest installment of the Ghost Road series that ties in with the Encrypted series. We follow Rose, who is a ghost, since she died when she was 16 on her way to the high school prom. She hasn't been resting easy since because Bobby Cross, the man who killed her, got away clean after running her off the road, and she's not the kind of girl who can let that go. She's been trying to find a way to stop him since they buried her. But things have changed in the Twilight world, where the spirits of the restless dead continue their lives. The crossroads have been destroyed, and Bobby's protections are gone, so it may actually be possible now for Rose to defeat him. But not alone, though. She's going to have to get every friend she's managed to make and every favor she's managed to add to her account if she wants to stand a chance. And it could be her last chance to be avenged, since what did Bobby cross without the crossroads? So I'm really excited about this book. I really enjoy Sean McGuire's writing. I think it's just really engaging and fun. I definitely enjoyed the Ghost Road series. I think, like, you get a lot of interesting scenes, I guess, with the ghosts, and just, like, the crossroads in general was interesting, so I'm curious to see, you know, how this affects things now that it's gone. But there's, like, cool magic with, like, of the highways and stuff, and I think that's a really interesting idea. So yeah, definitely want to get to this soon. Okay, and then the other more urban fantasy book I'll talk about is Soulstar by C.L. Polk. So this is, I think, the last book in this Witchmark series, which I've really enjoyed. It's maybe a stretch to call it urban fantasy because it's not technically in our world, but I think it's, like, close enough, and it has an urban fantasy feel, so that's how I categorize it. It's this Kingston cycle where we've got magic, politics, romance, and intrigue, and deadly storms also. So for years, Robin has kept her head down, staying among her people in the Riverside neighborhood and hiding the magic that would have imprisoned her by the state. But when Grace comes knocking on the door, Robin's days of hiding are at an end. As freed witches flood the streets of Kingston, scrambling to reintegrate with a kingdom that destroyed their lives, Robin begins to plot a course that will ensure a freer, much more just country. At the same time, she has to face her long-bottled feelings for the childhood love who vanished into an asylum 20 years ago. Can she find happiness among the rising tides of revolution? Can Kingston survive the blizzards that threaten the desperate monarchy and the birth throes of democracy? So I'm really excited to read this. I've really enjoyed the series so far. It's like a really fun and, like, interesting world. I like the characters a lot. There's been some really great romances. So I'm definitely curious to see, you know, what happened to her childhood love, and why is this person in an asylum? I don't know. Like a really charming series, and I want to see how it concludes. So then we have some graphic novels, and the first one I'll talk about is DarkOne by Brandon Sanderson. So I found, we were in Barnes & Noble the other day, and I found out they had an exclusive edition, so I bought it. I think the only difference is maybe the cover. The cover certainly looks different, but, oh, wait a minute, that is a poster. Okay, here we go. Well, yep. Okay, just kidding. The Barnes & Noble edition also comes with a poster. So, yeah, surprise. Oh my god, okay, hang on, we're not done yet. It also comes with a giant fold-out map. Okay, yeah, that's pretty cool. I like that, actually. Well, now we know what the Barnes & Noble exclusive edition contains. Okay, we have, I think, visions of a dark and fantastic world haunt our main character, but when he discovers that they're actually prophecies from Mirandus, which is a world in which he's destined to become a fearsome destroyer, he'll have to embrace the fear, rise up as the Dark One, and shatter everything. So that's all I know about this story. But, you know, I do enjoy Brandon Sanderson's books. I still have not read White Sand by him, so who knows, like, how the graphic novels go. But, yeah, I kind of impulse bought this the other day, and I'm excited to check it out. So then the last 3 graphic novels that I'll talk about is Heartstopper Volumes 1 through 3 by Alice Oseman. So, you know, Volume 1, Volume 2, and Volume 3. So, okay, now this is not usually something I read. I think this is kind of like a YA graphic novel series. I've seen this around BookTube, and, like, not gonna lie, hearing everybody else talking about it made me want to try it out. So here we are buying all 3 things. They're actually available to read online, but like I don't want to read that on my computer. But I did just look at a few panels of this first one to see if I liked it, and like I could already tell it's going to be just like a very charming story. So I was like, okay, yeah, I'll just buy it. And then I walked out with volumes 2 and 3 also. Because I was like, you know, graphic novels don't take me that long to read, and what if I just want to continue it? This is also one that I kind of want to read right now as I'm filming it, just because I need something like charming and easy to read. So that's definitely, I think, the series. But essentially here, we've got shy and soft-hearted Charlie sits next to rugby player Nick in class one morning. A warm and intimate friendship follows, and that soon develops into something more for Charlie, who doesn't think he has a chance. But Nick is struggling with feelings of his own. As the two grow closer and take on the ups and downs of high school, they come to understand the surprising and delightful ways in which love works. So, yeah, I mean, like, basically everybody I know adores this series, and it just seems super cute and charming, so that was kind of what I was in the mood for, so here we go. And then I assume we continue friendship/relationship in these 2 volumes. So with that, those are all the books that I have to show you today. Let me know in the comments if you've read any of these books or think you might pick them up. For your question of the day, I guess going off of DarkOne having that giant pull-out map, do you enjoy maps in your books? I will admit I don't, like, I will kind of glance at them when I first open the book and then completely forget that they exist, but I appreciate a good map, certainly. So I do have a Discord channel, and if you want to join that, the link is in the description below. I hope you're all having an excellent day and are reading something awesome. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to give it a big thumbs up, as that would certainly help me out. But with that, I think I'm going to wrap it up here and see you in the next one.